Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I am one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We have DJ Never here.
Yo, what up?
We got DJ D Miles.
What's good, y'all? What's good?
Good to see you, man. Good to have you back. And we got Jamie the Great.
Yeah, what up?
And we got a special guest from LA. I've been wanting this DJ on for a long time. He's a legend in the city. He's got the notorious Snapback Live Party out there. He's a world famous beat junkie. I'm really excited to have him on. We got DJ Icy Ice. What up, man? What's good, brother?
Good, brother. What's good?
How you doing, man?
It's cracking, man. Thanks for having me.
Nah, thanks for coming through. I see you on. I've been hearing about your Snapback Live parties, and I see you transitioning over to Twitch live streaming a lot. I see you on there all the time. You sound great. You're really active. You're very busy. You're on the hustle. I've been wanting you on this podcast because we've had so many LA DJs on. And we've spoken about the LA culture and just DJs coming up in LA. And your name has always been coming up because I always ask, what were the hip hop parties in the 90s? You know, because we speak to so many LA DJs and a lot of them had to do raves. Like, even though they were hip hop DJs and they were turntablists, a lot of them were like, well, there weren't any hip hop parties. So we ended up DJing a lot of raves, and like, they all came up under this rave culture, and then they learned the style of DJing a lot from the radio. You know, like the radio was the basis for a lot of the style of the West Coast or LA in particular. But I was always curious. I'm like, there were no hip hop parties? Like, there was nothing. And I think a handful of DJs mentioned you. Obviously, we had Mellow D, fellow beat junkie. We had Vice. And I think probably E-Man mentioned you. I know you're tight with E-Man. But there's still this mystery about the LA 90s hip hop club scene that I don't really know about as a New Yorker and never as eyes New Yorkers. Like, if you ask us about the New York club scene with hip hop, we have a clear understanding of what was happening, you know, with the Palladium and the tunnel and everything, you know. But I think it was weird for me, like, speaking with LA DJs and very, very respectable and successful LA DJs, and just being like, we didn't really, there was no hip hop parties out there.
Let me take you back to like what I remember from way back. I'll even take it before I was even a DJ. So I was like 6th grade, 7th grade. I was just starting to collect vinyl. You know, I would walk to the record store, save up what little money I had, and buy records. That was my thing before I even became a DJ. I was into popping, I was into breaking, I was into all of that stuff. I was into hip hop culture, period. But yeah, DJing, even before I got into it, there was a big hip hop scene, and it was run by this group called Uncle Jam's Army. Uncle Jam's Army, they Roger Clayton was the one that put that whole thing together. I learned all this history later on. But, you know, I would hear about Uncle Jam's Army even as an elementary school kid. I would still hear about Uncle Jam's Army and the parties that they had. Now,
this is like in the mid 80s, right?
This is the mid 80s.
I remember hearing about that. Like LL Cool J and Run DMC used to perform out there on the West Coast.
You remember those old poster boards where they would just have like the big names? So you'd have like, you know, LL Cool J, Run DMC, Curtis Blow. All of those East Coast performers would come, and they would perform at Uncle Jam's Army's events. Wow. And so they were the basis of hip hop way back then. All your Egyptian Lovers, all your K-Day Mix Masters, you know, all the Rodney O. Joe Coolies, and, you know, just everybody. NWA, all the basis for what they did was all through Uncle Jam's Army. Their parties were like king. So yeah, they had everything from the hall parties all the way up to like stadium parties, and then even their biggest parties were at the well, I would say it's the equivalent of the Forum, which was the LA Sports Arena where the Clippers play. They would rent that whole thing out. In fact, NWA filmed all of their scenes for the movie. Well, not NWA, but Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, and you know the NWA story was all filmed at the Coliseum, the sports arena, the sports arena.
Wow.
And so, yeah, their biggest parties were always taking place over there. So they were the basis of hip hop way back, even before I got into DJ.
And then what were they playing? They were playing a lot of break beats. They were, you know what I'm saying? A lot of, what was the basis of what was the LA sound at that time? You know what I'm saying?
So the LA sound was, yes, a lot of hip hop, you know, so a lot of the East Coast stuff. But then you had like the King Tees, the Toddy Tees,
Right.
Mixmaster Spade, those type of MCs laying the groundwork. Ice-T, of course, they were all laying the groundwork for hip hop here on the West Coast. But yeah, man, a lot of East Coast artists would come and perform here on the West Coast, and Uncle Jam's Army was the one that put it down for the West Coast.
And this is when Ice-T was doing like party jams, right? He was making party records right before the gangster
Yeah,
shit.
okay. So then, yeah, like hip hop on the East Coast was way more, like 90s and 100 beats per minute.
Yeah.
The West Coast was heavily influenced on the funk,
Right.
the up-tempo, the party sound. So very funk and then even very electro influenced. And then
so very like the world class wrecking crew, right?
Yeah, World Class Wrecking Crew. They were
Like that type of music.
That type of music.
Egyptian Lover.
Yeah.
Egyptian Lover, Reckless, like the
Black Planet Rock, Nucleus Jam on it, like
Right.
joints like that.
That whole electro sound was huge. And then you had like European artists like Kraftwerk. That was huge over here.
Right.
Like Numbers,
Yeah.
Tour de France. And then, like you had Cybertron, like Clear, R9. All that whole electro sound was big. And that's why it was in jams like, NWA's first songs were, you had Dope Man. And then you had Panic Zone. Panic Zone was very up tempo, and that was all heavily driven by Arabian Prince.
So how did it evolve into the 90s? You know what I'm saying? Like moving towards the 90s. Because when
Okay, so
go ahead.
the 80s, that was what was going on. Okay. And then as you move into the 90s, that's when I started becoming a DJ, and then you had like a lot of the Beat Junkie crew. We weren't even the Beat Junkies yet in the early 90s. We finally all came together in 92. But yeah, like in that early 90s, yeah, man, as we were all coming up, that whole native tongue sound was like huge with us. And then you had like, you had just the LA underground scene was just bubbling.
Was it like the hieroglyphics and stuff like that? Was it?
Hyro up north.
Yeah.
And then down here in the west, you had like you had the Licks, the whole Liquid crew.
Right.
You had like Dilated, all of those guys. The Visionaries were just coming together. So like the underground scene was just bubbling.
But it's funny because in the 90s, being from New York, the only reference we had to hip hop in LA was literally gang culture, was Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. All the music was pretty much gang, was like, gang related. You know what I'm saying? So like, when I think of that, and when I talk to these DJs, I'm wondering like maybe there weren't any like real hip hop parties or real any clubs that played hip hop that were big during that era because they didn't want to fuck with gangs, or like gangs were fucking shit up all the time.
So yeah, I mean the gang culture was huge at that time, especially in the early 90s and throughout the 90s pretty much.
Right.
And that was what was the most publicized, and that's what people knew of, throughout the US and around the world. But man, West Coast, we were way more than just the gang culture.
Right.
Yes, the gang culture was heavy and deep, but yeah, there was skills, there was lyricism, there was turntablism, there was just hip hop culture as a whole, in addition to just the gang culture.
I want to touch on this party that everyone speaks on. Vice speaks on it. Melody spoke on it. It was at club. Was it Club Unity?
Unity picked up from where Uncle Jam's Army left off.
Got it.
But now Uncle Jam's Army was massive in terms of doing the sports arena. Unity was underground. It was grimy. It was a small sweat box. It was at the El Hacienda in downtown Los Angeles, this little Mexican restaurant. I mean, still a pretty big spot. It still held like 500 people, but jam-packed. Everyone jam-packs, a sweat box, hot. I mean, it was so hot that it's like you could see the sweat on the walls.
Right.
Yeah.
But man, all the legendary groups that broke out performed there, just like all the East Coast artists that performed at Uncle Jam's Army. All the 90s groups that broke out performed at Unity. And so again, it wasn't the gang culture groups,
Right.
although Exhibit kind of went through both, but Exhibit was he was an alcoholic like he was with the Licks before he went with Dr. Dre's camp and all of that.
Yeah.
And guys like Razkaz, guys like man, just a lot of dope DJs and a lot of dope groups. Everyone performed at the Unity spot.
And how you were involved? You were the DJ there. Was that your party, pretty much?
I was like a guest, as a beat junkie. Like like pretty much Redmatic, J-Rock, Babu. They were the most used guests out of the crew for Unity.
Yeah.
And then a lot of us junkies pretty much rotated. Mark Love was the resident for Unity, and then the junkies were like kind of like a rotating co-resident. But it was just a lot of us. But yeah, mainly J-Rock, mainly Rhett were like the most used.
I have a question. Why don't you hear more about this club Unity? Like, this is the first time I'm hearing about this, and this sounds like a legendary spot.
This was the legendary spot. This was the spot where all the b-boys came together. This was all the graph writers were all congregating. All the DJs would come, and then like on the West Coast, Biggie's one of his first performances was at Unity.
Oh, wow.
Eminem, his first performances were at Unity.
It sounds like a West Coast version of the Tunnel, actually.
Yeah.
The Tunnel, and I've been to the Tunnel, but the Tunnel was like a real club. Unity was just in the basement of a restaurant, pretty much the hall of a restaurant converted into a nightclub.
Those are the best rooms, though, right? Those
are the best rooms. The sweat in the wall. The sweat in the wall is popping.
There's nothing like an underground club or an underground room for a hip hop room. It's just the best. The low ceilings. There's something amazing about those rooms for hip hop.
The lighting is whack. There's no like lasers.
Yeah.
It's one mushroom light on the corner just spinning.
It's just,
no high production value in terms of sound or lighting or any of that. But
AC's fucked up.
There's 3 fans and only 2 are working.
AC couldn't handle the amount of people in that room, man. But yeah, man, it's one of those just grimy, dingy, just dirty, raw, but it was dope.
So how long did that party last? Like how long did that run?
Man, a good, Bigga B was the one that organized that whole thing. And then Bigga B also worked for Loud Records, so he had the
oh wow. So
he had the luxury of being on the record side and then on the promotion side. And so any of the Loud groups that were breaking on Loud, he
was killing it. So he had like Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang.
Did he have like Wu-Tang?
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah.
Wow. So Wu-Tang and Mobb Deep and all them motherfuckers performed over there? Wow.
Everybody. Yeah.
Yo, how come no one talks about that shit at all?
Yeah, I want to know that. Growing up, I never heard about it.
Was it really that underground where like only like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, it wasn't underground to where the public didn't know about it,
right?
But it wasn't a mainstream club. It wasn't, something that was pumped on the radio or anything like that. It was just your spot, passed out flyers or word of mouth, man. That was it.
And what day was this?
It was usually on a Sunday.
Of course.
There were times where they would hold it on a weekday, but yeah, it wasn't like primetime Friday night, primetime Saturday night. It wasn't a known club like the Tunnel. It wasn't anything like that, man. It was just that spot, though.
Okay, so you would think that something like Club Unity would what did it evolve into?
Well, it didn't evolve into anything because Bigga B passed away in the late 90s.
Got it.
He passed away, and then there went Unity with him.
Wow.
The guys that did it with him, they tried to carry on the legacy, but nobody carried it on like Bigga B did.
Wow.
But I will say that once Unity faded, there was a guy named Chang out here in Los Angeles, Chang Weisberg, that had this vision of doing like a hip hop festival. Again, just like Unity, it started in a small, dingy spot, and then it grew into the biggest hip hop festival in the whole U.S., which was called Rock the Bells.
Got it.
So Rock the Bells started just after Unity faded, and then it grew into the 2000s, and then the whole 2000s, Rock the Bells was kind of running the hip hop scene.
Big deal.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that Rock the Bells was like kind of like a local kind of party thing, and then it evolved into a festival.
Yeah, It was a local party, just like how Unity was, but it evolved and it grew and it became, like it got into festival status to where it toured around the whole U.S. it predates any of like these festivals as far as raves and things like that, man. But yeah, Rock the Bells was I want to say it was pretty much the first music festival, hip hop music festival around. And then yeah, like the base of it was always like Cypress Hill, Wu-Tang, and all of those guys, you know.
Were you involved since from the jump with Rock the Bells?
Yeah, so I had a record store back in the 90s called Stax,
right?
Stax Vinyl.
You had like three. You had like 3 locations on that, right? Pretty much.
I did have 3 locations on that. One in Los Angeles, well, Cerritos, and then I had one in Ontario, and then one in San Diego.
Nice.
Damn.
Nice.
But yeah, with Rock the Bells, that idea originated when Chang came into my record store. He was talking to Mark Love, who was the main DJ for Unity, and he was like, I want to put together a modern day Unity, and he wanted to call it Rock the Bells. And that's where the idea was kind of brought together, and then me and Mark Love were the residents for Rock the Bells.
Dude, being a kid and going to Rock the Bells was the coolest shit, because it was always like towards the end of the summer, right before we go back to school, and it was just like, it was in San Bernardino, so it was a cool like 35 to 40-minute drive sometimes, but man, it was just like the biggest hangout, and it was like all ages, like it was just like a plain field, and then there's this one stage, and then everybody's either smoking weed or drinking, whatever, but it was just a vibe. And then I mean, you guys had everybody, but from like Lauryn Hill to Nas to Wu-Tang, up and comers like Wiz Khalifa before he even got popping.
Right.
So it was, dude, that was a scene. Those years were the best. Like the early ones, the 2006, 2007, they were the best years for rock.
What were the years when it started popping? Like I remember the big deal. I think maybe the first time I heard about Rock the Bells was it the Tribe Called Quest reunion or something like that?
That's the first time I've heard about it.
Yeah, that was the first time.
Even before the Tribe Called Quest reunion, the first thing that made it pop off was the Wu-Tang reunion.
Right.
And you can look it up on YouTube. They have those documentaries on that Rock the Bells reunion. It almost didn't happen because ODB didn't, he just would not get out of that hotel room to come and do it. But and this was at an airplane hangar. This was just at an airplane hangar.
What year was this?
I want to say 04, 05 or something like that.
I think that's when it started. It started like in 04, right?
It actually started like earlier. Like in the small clubs, it was early 2000, like 2002.
Oh, okay.
If you had ODB, I know he died like around 04 or 05, something like that. So to have him, that must have been like the last performance.
It was the very last,
That's crazy. What were the parties like in the beginning, and then how did it just blow up into a fucking festival?
Well, the parties in the beginning were very much like Unity, but it wasn't as grimy, and it wasn't, because these spots were more in Hollywood, so they weren't as grimy as the El Hacienda spot. It wasn't like Unity in that respect, and like it wasn't as packed. It wasn't as known. Like they started out small. I don't know how they figured it out, but they figured out whatever funding, they got someone to back the whole thing, and then they took it into a fairground. They started out at the fairground over in San Bernardino, what Jamie was talking about.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then it made its way into like an amphitheater and all of those, and then touring and all that stuff.
So who are some of the early guests that you guys had in the late 90s, moving on to the 2000s, early 2000s?
Here, let me pull out something real.
He's bringing out the archive festival charts.
Man. Is it
Rock the Bells? Like in the early days, they made like trading cards for all the artists.
Oh shit!
So
yeah,
that's like the little trading cards that they would pass out to people to promote the show. But then it was a trading card. I actually have a full sheet of the whole thing.
Oh wow!
I don't have it framed.
Oh man!
But then like there's Mark Love right there. Then you got like guys like Nas, Supernatural, Guru, the RZA, Raekwon, Ghostface, the Visionaries, Living Legends, Hieroglyphics, Oh No, Med, Percy P, Sage Francis, Redman, Be Real, Hubert, Muggs,
shit,
Nonfiction, Cut Chemists, Jurassic, all those guys, man.
So you had all like the real hip hop.
No, it was real hip hop, bro. It was the realest like backpacking shit you have ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
It was not just backpackers. It was a bunch of like different type of people, and that you see some gang members, you see the hipsters, you see the white folks just hanging out, It was crazy.
So the funny thing, around this time period, I was working in radio already. So I was at 92.3 The Beat, and we were pretty much battling it out head to head with Power 106,
Right.
for being the king of LA as far as hip hop.
Mhm.
But yeah, in that late 90s, Power went more house. They went more of the party station. That was their tagline. And then 92.3 The Beat, we were real to the street. 92.3 The Beat.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So like at that time, radio was popping. Hip hop was huge. Power and The Beat were doing massive summer jams and powerhouse concerts that featured everyone from your Jay-Z's to Outkast to Lauryn Hill to whoever, you know. Chang's whole model with Rock the Bells was he wanted to feature all the artists and the groups that were not mainstream, that were not radio, that were not getting the love from major labels, that were your kind of like backpack, you know, your backpackers or whatever. But it was just raw, underground hip hop, period. And that's what Rock the Bells was more about.
Interesting.
Wow, man.
It's such a great like legacy to be a part of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From the beginning up. That's great.
And then I have a real quick question. What was the difference between that and paid dues?
Pretty much the same exact concept as Rock the Bells, but even more underground groups, like the guys you never heard of.
Yeah, that was like Murs in them, right? And
That's
Blue.
Murs. Yeah, so Murs was the one that put that together. You know, Murs of the Living Legends crew. He was in charge of those lineups, and he would just get all the guys that were just, you know, like no radio play, no label, no nothing, and he was the one breaking a lot of those artists, man. So yeah, Paid Dues was the same exact model of Rock the Bells, but even more underground.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And Cypress Hill also had like Chang had these 3 festivals. So yeah, it was Rock the Bells as the main one. Paid Dues was the second big one, and then Cypress Hill had Smokeout, and that was just more your weed.
Right.
Smokeout was crazy.
You know, like all your groups that were just
Like Ice Cube, Cypress Hill, like
Yeah.
I forgot who else, but dude, I went to one of those.
yeah.
I've never been more high in my life than that shit because it's just clouds of smoke in the seats just coming back towards you.
Exactly.
Like
You
a
didn't have
hip-hop
to-
Grateful Dead concert.
Yeah, you didn't have to pay for the weed. You're just gonna go and buy your ticket. You get high.
As I'm talking to you guys,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
even thinking back, like, okay, so Unity was one of them, and Fat Beats was brand new to LA, and they used to throw parties.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The El Rey was one of those spots also. It wasn't as massive as like the Coliseum or the the sports arena, and it wasn't as grimy and dungy as the El Hacienda, but the El Rey was another spot. It was a smaller theater, but maybe holds like 400, 500, 600 people maybe. And that's
Yeah.
where everyone from Cut Chemists to Z Trip to the Junkies to just, it was more DJ based, and then like a couple performers.
So where does the source come in all of this?
Okay, so when all of that was going on, and like our Junkies crew had just formed, and this is 92, I was part of a crew called Legend. That was
Okay.
all the guys I went to school with in Carson. My crew became a party crew, a party promotion crew. And we started out doing little hall parties, but then we eventually made our way into the nightclub scene, and then we started doing big clubs. And one of the big clubs, which is still downtown LA, it's called the Variety Arts Center. It's right across the street from the Staples Center today. And we used to throw a hip hop party called Source.
Right.
The Source out of there.
So wait, you started that party, and that ran through for how long? Because that was the party everyone was referring to, was like one of the longest.
That was the weekly, and it was mainly Asian crowd.
Okay.
Maybe that's the one you heard about, Kirk.
So it was a mainly Asian crowd, and it was like, and it lasted for like over 10 years or something, right? It was crazy how long it lasted.
Well, that club didn't last 10 years itself,
But the
that's
party.
what kickstarted it. That's
Yeah.
what kickstarted it for a lot of us in the Filipino and Asian scene. So Source was significant it was the very first big Asian club where we brought actual hip hop acts out there. So yeah, like our first acts were Farside when they were just getting started.
Wow.
Some of our first groups also were like Yo-Yo or Rodney Ojo Cooley, Mad Lion. You know, like we had a lot of those groups perform over there. But I think more significant over the groups was we had a lot of up and coming DJs performing over there, and a lot of up and coming DJs residents over there. So yeah, Melody, Beat Junkies, Rhythmatic, like our whole crew performed and always DJ'd at the Source. And then young up and coming DJs like DJ E-Man, DJ Vice, DJ Verman, a lot of the DJs that are on radio now, like a lot of those guys made their start at the Source.
How long was the Source? How long did that party run? From what years to what years? So
the Source started around 91, 92, and then it lasted till about 95. But then from 95, we took it from Variety Arts Center, and then we upgraded it into doing a place called Glam Slam, which was owned by Prince.
Yeah, I heard of that spot.
Yeah, so Glam Slam was our next move right after the Source. And then so, I mean, from the Variety Arts Center to Glam Slam. And then so that one lasted a few more years after that. And then our last resting spot for like our big clubs was this spot called the Arena. And it was like double the size of Glam Slam, triple the size of the Variety Arts Center.
This is the original arena, right? The one on Santa Monica, that big ass place.
It was more known as a gay club.
Yeah, the back one, the circus, was the gay club. The front part was the regular club.
In the 90s, the struggle was real for Asian promoters, man. We got no love, man. You either had to be black, you had to be white, or Latino to get all the prime nights, Fridays, Saturdays, or Thursdays. And so we had to get the shitty nights like a Sunday night or a Monday or Tuesday, or we would even, you know, we eventually made our way into getting a Thursday night. But yeah, man, we had the whack nights compared to everybody else.
It was still busy though, right? I mean,
it was still busy though. Yeah. Like it was still busy because there was nothing like it at the time. There were no Asian hip hop clubs at the time. So the same impact of what Unity was for Los Angeles, the Source was that same type of impact for the Asians and Filipino crowd and our talent and all our peoples that came out of our scene. Right. And so like, yeah, the groups that came out of our scene were like, yeah, like your Vices, your E-Mans. You had like Black Eyed Peas. They had their start at doing at a lot of our clubs at that time, all the way up to Far East Movement and those guys. So shit, even Tupac even came out to Source at one point and was he was, this was 90, 91, hadn't really broken yet, and he came straight up just by himself. And, you know, like thanking us DJs for playing his record.
Oh, man. It's dope.
That's fucking ill.
Yeah.
Well, wait, what record were you playing at that time?
You could ask E-Man about that one. You could ask E-Man about
that. Wait, what did he have out at that time? Was it Trapped or was it?
Definitely before I Get Around.
Yeah, like Brenda's Got a Baby, Trapped, like that kind of era, right? A little bit? Yeah. Why, I always wondered this. Why, like even in New York, never, when we talk about the nightclub scene, right? When a club is hot and it opens, it's like, you know, white and Jewish, and then it starts going down the tiers, like race wise. Like when it starts getting whack,
it's messed up. Yeah,
it becomes like a black club, right?
The black promoters come in, the black crowd come in,
right?
And then that's when it's like it's about to be a rap.
And then it's like Latin, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Right. In New York, it was like white, and then it would be like Jewish, and then like Italian, right? When it became like kind of Guido-ish, and then it would be black, and then it would go Latin, and at the very bottom, when you knew a club was just done and they were done, it was Asian. Like we were the bottom tier. Like when a club went Asian in New York, they're like, "Oh, that shit's not gonna last very long."
Yeah, that's about to be over with.
You guys are a cleanup crew.
What's crazy with here in LA though, back even in that '90s era, man, like I think it was more segregated, man.
It was
like,
right.
Because you had your black nights, you had your white nights, you had your Latino nights, and then you had your Asian nights. Us, you know, like us doing our Asian nights, we threw the biggest Asian nights, man. So, you know, like we had the shittier nights than the prime nights. You know what I mean? There was nights always for every ethnic group, and but I do agree though. Like as far as a Hollywood club, kind of went through those tiers and stuff, but But yeah, like even the hot clubs in LA or even in Hollywood, man, like they had their specific nights open to everybody. But I'm just saying, like your predominantly Asian night or your predominantly black night or whatever.
Was there any like issue with like Asian gangs or anything like that, like infiltrating and shit like that? I never really hear much about it. Was there?
Oh man! So in your Asian clique, man, you had Chinese gangs, you had Korean gangs, you had Filipino gangs. You had Vietnamese gangs, Cambodian gangs.
Yeah.
You had all different races, man. And
Samoans,
which didn't exactly land in Asian, is Pacific Islander. But like, yeah, no one fucked with the Samoans, man.
Yo, the Samoans are crazy, bro. Yo, the Samoans are scary.
They're scary, man.
They're scary as fuck, especially out towards Cerritos.
No, I was gonna say that's more of like a Long Beach thing, right? Like
Long
the
Beach, all
Samoans
those
and
areas,
Cambodian.
yeah.
I grew up in Carson. Carson is the biggest Samoan population out of Samoa and Utah. Like Utah and Samoa were like the biggest populations, along with Carson.
Right.
Every time I hear about LA Samoans, I think about the Booyah tribe.
Yeah, so Booyah tribe. I would see those guys cruising around Carson as I'm getting out of school and all of that, man, because that was the thing, man.
They ran LA, right?
Well, they were kind of like bounty hunters for certain people. They were bodyguards for certain people, and then when they became an artist, no one messed with them, man.
You had to like New Yorkers when they go to LA, they had to check in with the Booyah tribe, or not check in, but have them do security for them to like look after them.
Yeah.
Out of all the Asian gangs, who were the illest though? Who was the illest?
I don't know, man, because the crazy thing was Asians ran in packs, man. Like they wouldn't fight if it was 1-to-1, but they'll definitely fight if it was like 20-to-1.
Yeah, they're more of a rumble type of crowd. They rumble.
But I would say, man, like the Chinese gangs they weren't afraid to shoot. Filipino gangs were not afraid to shoot, but Chinese gangs would not. They didn't care. They'll shoot up a club, but Filipinos, they'll go and shoot up a house or something like that. You know what I mean?
Wow. I like the differences on how you broke that down.
I mean, like the Chinese, they didn't care, man. They'll shoot up a spot, man.
I always thought the Cambodians was the illest because they had a whole fucking town named after them in Long Beach, right? They call that Cambodian town and shit.
So Cambodians, again, all the Asian gangs, they fought in packs, man. So yeah.
That shit is
so
crazy.
Whenever a fight broke out at our spots, man, it was like 20-to-1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So wait, how did you avoid that during that time, during that era? Because everything was like so gang related. Everyone was like clicked up, right? Pretty much. How did you avoid that shit?
In our scene, the gangster dudes wanted to get girls. So they didn't want to mess up the popping club if they wanted to get with them ladies. But then they also wanted to show off their might and all of that. So they'll shoot after a club, but they wouldn't shoot in a club or at a club when it's going on. I like to tell, you know, like when people ask about the clubs from back in the day, especially my clubs and the Asian scene, I like to tell everybody, man, that was social media before social media even happened, man, because that's where everybody congregated. That's where everyone got together. You had the gangs, you had the car crews, you had the dance crews, you had the DJ crews, you had all kinds of crews coming together all at one spot. And that's where they hooked up. That's where they linked. That's where they networked. That's where business got done. That's where whatever, everything happened. And then once the thing happened, you know, like once the club was done, then the fighting started, or, you know, like whatever, the races happened and things like that. Everything happened after the club.
At that time, if you were like starting your own party and you had your own night at a club or whatnot, did you have to okay it with certain gangs or certain people, or like was it just kind of like a common thing, like, nah, we just want to hang out, this is all love and shit like that? Or did you have to get protection, or did you have to get an okay? I
mean, we were cool, like us as the party crew, and especially us as DJs, we were always kind of neutral. And no, to answer your question, no, we didn't go and ask permission, or we didn't go and get someone to have our back or anything like that. It was just kind of like again, as I talk to friends that used to be gangsters that are not gangsters now, they tell me that, yo, man, I mean, we always enjoyed your parties because that's where we would get at the ladies. But after the parties, that's where we go and get our fight on and things like that with the other gangs. So yeah, it was kind of like a respect thing. Like our clubs did not have too many fights. I mean, like for Source, out of the 4 or 5 years that we had it going on, I could count like maybe 3 nights total that we had any kind of brawl or any kind of big fight in the spot. Usually it'd be a couple girls fighting, or something that just gets broken up quick. But as far as a big brawl, I could count 2-3 times, really. That was it. Even in our legend entertainment history of doing clubs for 15 years, man, like very few fights that happen in the spot, but it always happened after.
As we're talking about, your party, The Source, Unity, Rock the Bells, and we keep going through, what happened during that EDM electronic music house era that invaded in like the late 2000s, early 2010s?
So yeah, I think when EDM really came in strong in that late 2000s and just took over, I think that was kind of like the death of like a lot of these dope hip hop places, man.
Right.
When that wave of EDM kind of took over, it took over Vegas, it took over Hollywood, it took over just the whole nation, period, And so all these clubs and these scenes that I'm talking about and everything, it just kind of died off, man.
Wow.
And there was a good lull for like 4 or 5 years of nothing really popping, man.
Was there a distinct like moment, like a year, or like maybe like what year was it where you just kind of really saw, oh shit, something's going on with the music scene right now, where you saw it shift?
I mean, I saw that shift like maybe around 09, 08, 09, 2010 definitely on. It just took over,
What did you see? How did it affect you? I'm just curious to know, because you literally saw almost 2 decades of hip hop, right? And you were doing nightlife, and you were doing clubs, you were doing Rock the Bells, you were doing all of this, and then to see this shift and be like, what the fuck's going on? Like, and then obviously it had to affect, obviously like your financial situation, just because of like, everyone's making money off of hip hop, and then all of a sudden there's a shift in the culture, right? And I know a lot of hip hop DJs at the time, and I guess you want to call them quote unquote open format DJs, and which is pretty much all of us, and we definitely got ahead. We all got ahead. Like, damn, we got to like adapt and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So what was crazy was, it was kind of like I see like things that kind of converged at the same time. We had that great recession, right? So that messed up the economy. That people lost jobs, all of that stuff, right? We saw technology change, so we saw a technological shift where Serato came in and then just overtook. And so it just made it easy for people to get music, people to get libraries. It just made it easy for people to become DJs, period. And so, yeah, man, I think with all this shift, and then the music shift, the whole music shift period to just more electronic music, man, it forced all of us to just change our game, change up, man. So we were all more open format. But man, when the David Guettas and everybody took over the club scenes, especially in Vegas and all of that, man, it forced everybody to kind of level up and become more open format DJs. And you had to be open format, or else you weren't gigging in any of these spots. Yeah,
I bring this up because, with the recent pandemic and everything that's going on, like Neva and I, we talk sometimes, and, Neva's been in the game a lot longer than I have. I've maybe been DJing since like for maybe 20 plus years, a little bit professionally, like in clubs and stuff. Neva, you probably got like 25 plus or something more.
Like 20, something like that.
25. And we were just kind of looking through each era, and when you kind of take a step back and you look through it, you like DJs, we have to adapt every five years or so. And then every 10 years, there's some type of revolution that affects the whole industry. You know what I'm saying? So like in the 90s, there was vinyl, and then there was like mixtapes. And then all of a sudden, boom, the digital age. Serato invades the next decade, right? And then everything just kind of changes. And then boom, 2010s, social media, right? And then now we're seeing a live stream element, boom, another shift in the culture. So it's funny, like with the experiences that we've had we're able to kind of spot like, oh, this is going to be a thing and this isn't going anywhere. This is going to affect the industry and we have to adapt and learn this shit, because we've seen so many changes in the past. And then, I look at you and you've been in this a long time. Like, you're a fucking legend in your own city and beyond. And you just really being comfortable adapting to streaming and hopping on it. You know what I mean? Not really like hesitating. You're like, fuck it, let's go, let's do this. And I really
it wasn't comfortable though. It wasn't comfortable at all.
I don't know, man. It's being comfortable, man. Like,
but it was very inspiring to me, and I loved seeing it because I was like, yeah, motherfucker, dude, like the hustle is in him. And I saw him. This is a DJ who has lived through a lot of changes and knows this is one of those changes that I'm gonna. Maybe it's nothing, maybe it's something, but it's affecting the industry and it's affecting the world, and I'm gonna adapt, and I noticed that, and I kind of wanted to ask you, was that your thinking? And when you look back, do you see kind of, the culture and the shifts and how it affects our industry and our craft and whatnot?
I think you broke it down way more philosophical than I did.
Take the words out of his mouth. Pause.
No, man. I mean, like, yeah, like this whole live streaming thing. I mean, I didn't look at it like, oh, I got to shift or die or anything like that. Man.
Right.
My whole thing was, man, I was stuck here at home, and then, I'm a social person, man. I love to be out. When I'm not gigging, I love to go and watch other DJs, man.
Yeah.
And if I'm not watching another DJ, I'm at a bar or something, hanging out with some homies, listening to music or live performance, anything, man. But being stuck at home, I couldn't do nothing, man. Mm-hmm. So what did we do, man? We saw that like you could live stream off of your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we would just set up our phone and then just DJ for the people on social media. It was as simple as that, man. We were just playing because we wanted to play. It was we weren't even thinking about like, oh, this is the next technological shift or this is a phase we got to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yo, we want to play. And then at that time when we were all like hard lockdown, we couldn't leave the house. We're trying to be there for each other. We wanted to be there for our peoples,
Mm-hmm.
like with Snapback, that was a whole community, a whole crowd. We wanted to be there for them. And so we're just playing for our peoples.
Yeah.
We just play music on a daily. And then we saw people like D Nice take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, he's doing it. We could definitely do it for our peoples. And then so we were doing it on a daily basis and things like that. But yeah, it wasn't like we weren't thinking philosophical or thinking like, oh man, this is the shift or anything like that. It was just like, shit, we're in this pandemic. We can't get out the house. We can't do nothing. We want to play. So we wanted to play for our peoples and we did. That's how it all started, really.
Yeah.
But getting onto Twitch, that was a whole nother beast and whole nother animal, man. That shit was hard. That was not easy at all, man.
It kind of reminded me when I first started learning to DJ and having to learn like about amps and speakers and mixers and like the ground cables. Like you're just kind of like learning about the technical aspects of it all from the jump, and you're like, oh, okay, streams 720, like Wi-Fi, landline. I got to shift this, overlays. It's like you're kind of relearning a whole thing. From literally sound systems to like a live stream setup.
It was crazy because we're DJs. We just we love to just express ourselves with music. This whole technical stuff. There's a lot of DJs that are technical, but I wasn't one of them, man. So, my technical homie Gene, I would always hit him up like every day, like, yo, come over to my house, hook this up for me. Oh, I'm having problems with this. Can you help me fix it?
I do that with Jamie. Jamie,
FaceTime me.
You gotta fix this, man. Help me out.
Yo, my sound is delayed. Yo, why isn't this here?
Yeah, man, that was a pain in the ass, man, trying to figure all of that out, man. But once you learn it and once it's working and you got it set, then it's fun, man.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Live streaming is fun, but the whole learning and the whole adapting and getting onto it, that was a challenge.
It's such a godsend because honestly, if there wasn't a live stream, imagine, I don't know what these DJs, would have done. That
Yeah.
and what you guys built together, like all the DJs that built a community, it's kind of insane. And when I look back, I always like to just, I have a bad habit of overanalyzing shit. So I always, excuse me, because I'm always looking like a little bit into the future. Like I'm always looking like, how are we gonna look at this 5 years or 10 years later? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's why I was bringing up live stream. But it really is just a godsend, and it really got a lot of DJs through a horrific year. And, obviously a lot of their viewers and a lot of their following, it got them through a horrific year. And with you looking back on it, I mean, I'm sure you've been streaming like maybe 6 to 8 months, right? Steadily around there. When you look back on it a little bit now, like, how do you look at it? Do you think this is going to last? Do you think even when stuff opens up, are you going to continue Snapback on Twitch?
To answer your first question, yeah, man, I think this is here to stay. I think it's definitely something that will still be here when everything opens up in real life. But yeah, man, this whole streaming thing, it's a trip. When I've had conversations with E-Man, and E-Man runs radio here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He runs three of the big stations here.
And he just hopped on Twitch recently too, right? Like he just
jumped on because of his busyness, man. Like he's like a chicken without, running with his head off, man, because he's working with so little with radio right now, Yeah, just to share some insight, man. Like, I mean, his words personally, he was like, man, Mix Show is straight up Twitch, man. Twitch is Mix Show now. Radio is not where Mix Show's at. Mix Show is on Twitch. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is coming from a guy that runs 3 of the biggest stations here in Los Angeles, man. Radio's still going to be radio. People will still tune in as they're driving, but man, you always had to wait till the 5 o'clock drive or for the weekends to hear a DJ mix on the air.
Yeah.
Right now with Twitch, we have this app and we have this technology. It's like our very first 24-hour DJ station. That's what we have right now in our hands, man. That's what Twitch has become. Like, it's a gamer platform first and foremost, but it's become a 24-hour DJ station.
Yeah,
where DJs can see DJs.
It's like it's a sprinkle of MTV in there too, and like a sprinkle of like public access a little bit, right? Just like that community feel.
I mean, now you're seeing some people, get creative and do their podcasts on Twitch, and then you've got like game shows and late night shows and whatever shows. Everyone's forming their own type of things, but I think it's an outlet. It's definitely an outlet for DJs. So yeah, I think when everything opens up in real life, Twitch is definitely, live streaming period, no matter what the platform is. I think live streaming period is going to be here to stay.
Let's talk about Snapback a little bit more right now, because I want to talk about shifting Snapback to Twitch, but Snapback as a party, Snapback Live as a party that you started. Maybe kind of break it down for us right now.
So a quick breakdown, like when you're talking about that shift around the 2010 era, and everything going digital, everything going EDM conquering all the clubs. So us as Snapback, our guys that originally started the night, we all had this idea of like doing a nightclub where let's bring back the old essence of what we grew up on, all the clubs that we used to do back in the day. Let's bring back that vibe, that feel, that house party feel. And so we found a little grimy spot in Glendale, and we were doing our little clubs out of a outdoor patio type of spot. And then we moved it into North Hollywood, into one of those dance studio type places. And then the dance community got real big with it. And then that same spot opened up in Long Beach, and that's where myself, Remark, we all came along, and we did the Long Beach Snapback. And then us as Snapback as a whole, again, our whole thing was just doing a house party vibe in a club and playing all the 90s hip hop, R&B, reggae, funk, soul, breaks, all of that, man. That's all what we wanted to bring back to clubs when EDM was running that era.
Right.
And so, yeah, Snapback's been going on almost 10 years now.
That's crazy.
And so we were doing physical events up until this pandemic. And then so with the pandemic, we've taken that same crowd that we've been catering to, and then they followed us onto Twitch. And now we do Snapback every day, 12 noon at lunchtime. We have a guest DJ every single day.
You had Jamie the Great actually spun that, right? Spun that party.
Yeah.
we
Jamie's
did we did the Long Beach what was it? It's called the Bank or the Vault? I forget what it was.
Yeah, it was Federal Bar, and
Federal
it was
Bar, sorry.
actually a bank vault. That's
Yeah,
what.
we were inside a bank vault DJing for a crowd. It was pretty nuts. It was fun. It was fun times. And then shout out to, I forget his name, the MC that was there with us.
My man Taquan, Taquan.
Dude's a great MC. He knew how to control the crowd. You didn't have to get on the mic at all. You just play the music and he hyped you up. But it was dope vibes. It's really dope. You could play anything you want. Like that just got the dance floor moving. There was like no segregation of like the crowd being like, oh, I don't like this, it's too new to. It was just music lovers and you play whatever and they'll vibe out.
Yeah, and I think what made it more unique also was that it was like a party vibe. So it was girls and guys dancing, not just everybody faced at the stage watching the DJ. Nothing like that. It was a party vibe, house party.
And it was so cool because I did both the one here in North Hollywood and the one in Long Beach. The North Hollywood, you kind of have to do this kind of like you got served mentality set because it's just dance crews going in there and they're like they're dancing like a dance off. So you have to kind of play like those more up-tempo records opposed to the one in Long Beach. You get like, you can play whatever you want. Like I think I play Sade Smooth Operator at the one in Long Beach, and over here I play Pump It Up because the vibe is just two different, pretty much two different worlds.
The way I like to break it down is like North Hollywood was kind of like a younger dance community crowd, and so I like to say that crowd they dance to the music, right? And then with Long Beach, it's an older vibe, older crowd, and so I'm like all the people over there, they like to sing along with the songs and they like to dance and grind and all of that to the songs. And that crowd kind of grew up with the music. So one crowd danced to the music, one crowd grew up to the music.
Did you guys have that party in Vegas also?
We do have that party in Vegas. My man B-Stang runs it right now. It's at
Commonwealth.
Yeah.
That's it. Commonwealth.
And then you started that party basically in an era where, EDM had taken over, right?
My guys started Stubbs, B-Stang, and Eveready. They're the ones that started in Glendale, North Hollywood. And then they brought me in when they opened up Long Beach. And then once we opened up Long Beach, that's when, I used my relationships and connections to bring in Talib Kweli to DJ or we have Drez from Black Sheep coming in for a night, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a big party vibe. And then again, the whole essence of hip hop in a party, old school house party vibe, Is
it more diverse or is it again like an Asian following that kind of goes with you to Long Beach?
I mean, like Asians were pretty much our base crowd.
Yeah.
But in both locations, it was a very good mix, man. It was a real good mix of everybody. Jamie could tell you that, man. It is a good mix of everybody. But our base of people that we would bring out on a weekly was always Asian.
As an Asian DJ in LA, was it hard to get gigs? And is that why like you guys had to start your own parties? It was like impossible to get into any of the clubs, right?
Yeah. When I started out way back in the 90s, it was impossible to get into Hollywood clubs as an Asian DJ.
I can imagine.
It just wasn't happening, man. So we had to throw our own parties to do that. And then that's where I think it was very memorable for like all the DJs that are legendary now, because we were like one of their first gigs. For E-Man, was his first club gig. For Mello, for Vice, a lot of those guys they got their start doing our source clubs and legend clubs way back in the day.
Never. I was thinking about New York and shit, and I was like, were there any Asian DJs that were kind of taking over or like that did anything in the clubs?
There was a few. Oh man, there was Kaori, that female DJ. She used to do like a lot of hip hop parties.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's another DJ. I can't think of his name. He used to do like a lot of Bill Spector parties back in the days. He was like killing it. I can't think of his name.
Was he from Japan or no?
He was from Japan, but moved to New York. DJ Hero.
DJ Hero, that was him, right?
Yeah.
I remember them. Yeah. I was thinking about it myself because in the 2000s, I was like, damn, there's really no Asian DJs.
I felt like by the 2000s, it was like there wasn't really too many Asian DJs.
Right. Because I was thinking about Ice and I was like, geez, like who were the Asian DJs? Did I look up to any? Because I'm sure you must be inspiring a whole bunch of younger generation DJs that came up, right?
He's not to his own horn, but yeah, he is.
I mean, yeah, you are. But I was just thinking, like, I was trying to think, like in the 90s and 2000s when I was coming, I was like, there was like, I guess I didn't even think about it at the time. But, you know, here in LA, I feel like there was really a sense of identity for, you know, being a Filipino American. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
I think in those early years, it was way more significant because we weren't getting any love. It wasn't common to see DJs, you know, Asian Filipino DJs in these big clubs, you know, unless we're throwing our own nights, you know. So, so it was a big deal for us to get on radio. It was a big deal to, you know, put together our own movie or put together our own TV show or anything like that. Man, it was all a sense of community. Nowadays, it's very common to see a Bruno Mars or you know, you see whoever doing their thing. It's very common to see people dancing on TV and things like that. But way back then, man, it wasn't. And so I think that's where that sense of community, and it was way more significant if somebody made it. But nowadays, it's too common now.
You know, it's crazy. When I was like a kid listening to the radio, the biggest DJ at the time was E-Man, and he was Filipino.
Yeah,
there was no real Mexicans DJ in the radio outside of probably Melody, but even Vice. But I didn't even know Vice was Mexican because he didn't speak Spanish, so it's kind of hard to tell. I thought Vice was Filipino too. So it was difficult.
He practically is Filipino because
yeah,
he grew up around Filipinos, and his wife is Filipino, and all of that, man.
Yeah, and he's from Eagle Rock, and Eagle Rock has a lot of Filipinos. So
Gang of Filipinos
he was Mexican, and I don't know he was Mexican, but to me, E-Man was the biggest DJ at the time, and he was Filipino, and then there was Mr. Chalk. But it's stuff like that, like there was no
much love to the Baker Boys. Much love. They were Mexican. They were
but
Mexicans.
That was towards later on, like earlier than my time. My time was like late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay. Yeah.
And at that time, E-Man was the biggest fucking DJ in LA.
Right. Yeah. He did the morning show. He did Big Boy, all of that, man. Yeah.
I was wondering, I was curious because I've been having conversations with homies and shit, and I thought you'd be the perfect person to ask about this. How do you feel about, you know, all of the recent, you know, escalation in crimes towards Asians?
Man, Asian hate has been going on decades, centuries. You know, like when the Chinese first came here working on the railroads and all of that, man. And then all the way, man, you know, like that's where derogatory terms like chink or flip or whatever, man, like all of that stuff was going on for centuries, man. But yeah, man, I wish they would pick on someone that was a kung fu master and kick their asses, man.
See them going up to Manny Pacquiao, bro.
I wish they would get like some kind of sifu or master, you know, of kung fu and kick their ass and get that in the news, man.
A black belt.
I wish a motherfucker would. That's a perfect segue to Manny Pacquiao. You actually DJ a bunch of his after parties, right?
Man, yeah, man. Manny was at the height, you know, like at the height of his career on the rise. Shit, man. I used to DJ all of his after parties in Vegas, man. And in fact, one of the most recent ones I did was on the record with Eddie.
Oh yeah,
wow, yeah.
There, just a year and a half ago.
Yeah, we were supposed to schedule something on that podcast, right?
Yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah.
Right.
Was that the last time he fought Broner? Adrian Broner?
That's when he fought Broner, I believe. Yeah.
That
was January of 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we were trying to schedule. We've been trying to get ICIs for quite some time.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you on for a minute. How did you link up with Pacquiao?
Mutual friends, man. It was all mutual friends, and then you know, like all the promoters and everybody, every party crew from across the U.S. would link up and do these parties and stuff. But yeah, I was always like one of the DJs that was always on those lineups.
Wow.
I was always on all of those lineups, man. I don't think I missed one. But I think when he became more of a born again Christian and he stopped doing those parties, then that's where it stopped. But that one on the record was the very last one I did.
Yo, did Manny Pacquiao have like a go-to list that you had to play because he wanted to sing on the microphone? Because he's a singer. That boy does it all.
Nah, he would just show up, hang out. You know, his entourage would be, you know, like they would be drinking and partying and all of that. But yeah, he would just show up real quick and then dip out, man. But then, you know, all his trainers, Freddie Roach, he'd be hanging out. Some of those early parties, like in the early 2000s, man, like everyone from Wu-Tang to the Black Eyed Peas to just actors, actresses, everybody was always in those parties, man. It was wild.
Yo, you did all like the summer jams and all the radio kind of like summer concerts, right? Because I was looking through like your Instagram. You have like pictures with Snoop Dogg, with Missy Elliott, Timbaland. You have pictures with all of these incredible artists.
I just posted one with D'Angelo.
Yeah, D'Angelo.
Yeah, I saw that recently.
And you look young as fuck. Like you look like you was.
Hey, I'm still young as fuck.
Like it was last week. I was like, it was last week.
Nah, but you look like 12. Now you look like 12 years old in the picture.
Junior high school.
Now you look like a college kid.
He looked like he skipped school and went to and was DJing that shit. Like, yo, that must have been an incredible time. I was so jealous, like, looking at some of these pictures. Yeah, there was one with Tribe Called Quest, and I was like, oh, my God. And it was like Ali Shaheed Muhammad, Fife, rest in peace, Q-Tip. I was just like, what? That's, like, incredible, man. Go ahead.
I was fortunate to be in LA radio at the time when just hip-hop was dope. And, like I'm saying, commercial hip-hop was dope. Underground hip hop was dope. All of it was dope, man. And a lot of those artists stood the test of time.
And you also toured. You was also KRS-One tour DJ at one point, right?
I was, yeah. When KRS was living here in Los Angeles,
I didn't know that. Wow.
I was the DJ for his Temple of Hip Hop radio show on 92.3 The Beat, then I toured with him.
Damn, I didn't even know KRS lived in LA.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Me neither.
He left the Bronx. Oh, man.
Fucking traitor.
Our little secret, you know, just between us.
Now I'm kind of interested.
And all the podcasters that's listening. Yeah, man. KRS-One has a house in Atlanta. He has a place here in LA, and I think he bounces between the two. Anytime I do run into him at a show, it's all love.
Of course, I could imagine.
I can't even imagine. Yo, he's an insane performer, yo. Like, DJing for him must have been crazy, yo.
I was DJing for him in that late 90s, man. And his son was still real young. I jump in those tour vans and tour with his dance. It was just me, his dancers, his wife, his son, and his manager. That was it, man. And then we'd hit city to city. But yeah, it was dope because KRS was already legendary from the 80s. And in the 90s, I felt like that was like his height because that was
definitely,
man. He still performs to this day, and he's still got the same energy, man. Like there's very few performers like KRS-One. I would say like a Busta Rhymes is the only one that maybe matches or even exceeds
totally agree with
his
you on that.
level on stage. But yeah, man. I mean, KRS off the dome, just
every time I saw KRS-One in a concert, he would just rip it up.
And then he's political, but he's also entertaining, and he's a b-boy, and he just loves hip-hop culture, and he just exudes all of that, man.
It was we had him at we used to do an old school hip-hop party at Lavo in Las Vegas, and he was by far the best performer out of all the performers we had. We had like Das Effects, we had everyone there, Quests, we had Run from Run DMC, we had everyone, and KRS blew it out the fucking water, and like they invited him over again. Like I think he's one of the few that did shows like 3 to 4 times, and each one was different. It was just like different every time, man.
The first time I saw KRS-One perform was like in 1990 in his gym, and he had the crowd rocking so hard that the gym floor was moving. I thought the floor was gonna fucking drop because everybody was just so hyped, jumping up, and it was like scary. I was just like, oh shit, man, this shit gonna fucking fall to the ground.
One thing that I noticed when I was DJing with KRS was we would hit a lot of college towns, man. Like college shows were it was insane, man. Like those shows were just 1,000 white kids just going crazy,
up and down,
crazy, man. And so yeah, the energy. I don't think there's too many performers besides maybe Busta that can match his energy and his stage presence and his show value.
Yeah.
what do you call it? What do you in all of your experience, in all of your literally in your whole career, right? What is some of the best performers that you've seen? And you've seen a lot.
I don't know, because I'm a fan of a lot of groups also.
Right.
So
Well,
like
give me your top 3. Can you do a top 3 maybe?
yeah, I would say KRS,
Busta.
and for me, Tribe. Like, I'm like such a huge fan of Tribe.
That's
I
another
love
good-
De La. I mean, like, can I share some pictures of like some old school groups? I pulled them up because I know this is a visual platform.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, here's me and E-Man with Tribe.
Yeah, that's that Quest picture I saw.
Oh
man.
wow.
Damn.
This is me and E-Man with Tamia right here.
Oh shit, to me.
Oh my god. I love Tamia.
Here's a party of like us at our legend clubs back in the day. So
Oh,
this is
shit.
a crowd shot.
Is that all Asian people?
That's the majority Asian people.
Yeah, crooked seats like all my
Right here.
people.
More Asian folks right here.
All my peoples. What's up?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Um,
I don't see no brothers in there.
Oh, Quincy.
Wow,
oh
man.
wow. That's Tamia too, right?
Yeah, that's Tamia. Let me see. Let me pull. Here's the homie right here.
Tyson.
Oh
Tyson.
man,
Yeah.
it's prime, baby.
Damn.
Um,
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Beef
Guru.
Guru.
God damn.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Damn, that's crazy.
Ice, you look like 11 years old in all these pictures that you showed me, man.
I know. I'm real young in these pics, man.
Although
Another Quincy.
He looked like a clean shaven Miles Medina. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Here's our whole crew, like the whole junkies.
Oh, I've
Oh,
seen
wow.
that picture before. That's at the menu of best friend.
Like a lot of the J5 and Raz Kaz and those
shit.
guys.
I was
Then then you got like people like Faith.
damn.
shit.
I don't know, just
That looked like Miles Medina if he went to the army.
No, I was gonna say that on the low.
Mac 10,
Mac 10.
DJ Quick.
Oh wow.
Yes, some old, just some
crazy.
some flicks and stuff. I got stacks, man.
Look at the
Dope,
stacks.
man.
You know, I give you props, Ice, because your top 3 performers are from the East Coast. They're from New York.
It wasn't no West Coast guys.
I like
here's
that.
a crew when they were 15.
Oh, shit.
Woo! Destiny
Oh, man.
Child.
That's
Damn.
Beyonce
man.
right next to me.
Damn.
Yeah, that's Beyonce next to him. You had to point that one out.
How different is it, like, when you look back, right? How different is it? You've been doing the clubs. You've been doing the clubs till now. But pre-pandemic. How different has it been to you? Like, what's the biggest change to you?
Not much has changed because I think my style of DJing, and then I do have, Jamie talked about my MC Taquan.
Yeah.
Like our vibe, our energy is always the same the way we DJ, no matter if it's an open format club, a corporate gig, or a regular house party type of vibe, Our whole thing is always the same, man. So we could get a crowd of like 50 people to still sound like they were 1,000 people,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, that's just the way we DJ. It's always still the same hip hop vibe, and then like call and response, MC, DJ, all of that, man. I would say this whole Twitch thing is different because there's no call and response, there's no energy coming back unless you've seen that chat room fly. That's the only way I feel like I have any kind of crowd response. But yeah, man, I mean, as far as over the years, like from all those clubs and all those eras I'm talking about, man, it's always the same type of vibe, same type of energy, the same type of music and everything. So
Yeah.
hasn't really changed. It's still the same all the way through.
Crazy. It's in the end, we always have hip hop to thank. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never thought I'd be the age that I am right now, DJing still, and being surrounded by other DJs older than I am, still thriving and doing amazing. So I always think we got to thank hip hop for that, man. Because
Hey, you can relate because you got an Asian dad, man. So I got a Filipino Asian dad, and he always thought I would. This was just a phase for me.
Yeah.
And he, like he always thought that I'd eventually get into some kind of job. But man, here I am, like you, still at this age, DJing, man. And
it's crazy, right?
You hear my kids,
right?
You hear my little kids in the back
They're
there.
running amok back there.
Well, I didn't have a dad. I didn't have a dad, but my mom was definitely.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's all good. She was definitely like, when are you gonna get a real job? Like, when are you gonna get your shit together? And then I started paying her rent, and then she was like, okay, like, I'm
okay, I guess this little thing is working out.
That's how Asian parents start to respect whatever you do. Like, okay,
it's not just Asian. It's not just Asian because my family was the same way. They was
okay.
Like, you quit your city job to DJ? Like,
yeah,
crazy. You got no benefit.
That's the thing too. That benefits.
Benefits. What you gonna do now? But now it's like, all right, you make a living off of it.
That's the one obstacle as DJs we got to conquer is the health benefits. We've got to find a way, right? Man. We got to find a way. We got to figure it out.
Figure that out, though.
Ice, come on! You got the Beat Junkies. Yeah, y'all got like the biggest platform. Come on, like,
yeah, man.
I get some like Beat Junkies health plan. I'll put into that shit.
I'll sign up right away.
Me too. Y'all logistically good.
Yeah, how can we get a Beat Junkies health plan out there? I'm serious, man. Like you guys, you have the outreach to do that, though. I feel like you guys could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like just I'd be like, wait, who's covering you? Like Blue Cross? Nah, Beat Junkie. I got
the Beat Junkies, the world famous Beat Junkies card.
That's the next venture. So
they got the school on lock. Now it's the fucking.
They got everything. They got the record pool, school, stream,
dental,
satellite radio. You guys are gonna do. It's gonna be what 30 years or what's it gonna be? In next year, it's gonna be.
Next year's 30 years.
Next year's gonna be 30 years.
Wow,
92.
Beat Junkies 30-year anniversary. Crazy. Can we?
That's crazy.
Can I put this out there? Can we have all of you guys on the Road podcast for your 30-year anniversary? Just all of you guys.
I don't know if we'll fit all on this screen.
No, we'll go. By that time, it's location.
We'll go out to LA.
To the store.
We'll go to LA.
School.
We'll go to LA, and you guys can announce your health plan to everybody on your 30th anniversary. What do you call it?
We could definitely make that happen, though, man. We can make that happen.
That would be. I think it's such an accomplishment, man.
Yeah. Put it in a group chat.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, I kind of promised this for the next year, guys.
real quick, because I love entrepreneurship, and I've always been curious about this. You had 3 record stores, right?
Mm-hmm.
That must have been like 3 locations to juggle. Was that the biggest pain in the ass that you've ever had, or did you love having those record stores?
I loved having the record store, man.
It
was dope, man. But yeah, I'm like you. I'm very entrepreneurial.
Yes.
I love to, like back when I was on tour with KRS-One, and this is where it all started. My dad was always like on me about, like being entrepreneurial since I didn't go the corporate route. But anyways, when I was touring for KRS-One, one of the books I was reading on the road was Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And so after I read that, I'm like, damn, I don't have the money to get into real estate, but I could scrape together some money and open up a store. And that's what I did. I got a little loan from, family and was able to kick open a store. But yeah, man, I was working at radio at the time, so I would get free promos from the record companies and things like that, and resell them at my store.
Allegedly.
Wow.
Hey, man.
You were like that.
These record labels, man, they had boxes and boxes of vinyl. They didn't care, man.
You're like that Nike VP that just got fired.
I would get at the stock, but I'm like, yo, hey, man, save me a box, man, or slide me a box, and I pay him off a little bit and then go and sell it at the store.
Damn.
Amazing. The reseller.
The only reason why he can tell this story now is because
that was years ago.
Years ago. Statute of
limitations is done.
So then your first record store did so well, you opened 2 more, basically?
Yeah, man. So I was I wasn't a very good businessman, but I was a good promoter, man.
Yeah.
And so I got people through that door. I made sales. I wish I had, I wish I had a better team of people with me, like I didn't have a good accountant at the time. I didn't have people watching the books and all of that. So yeah, I opened up stores. I ran the stores, and I kept business going. We had a good 8-year run of doing these stores.
Yeah.
It was my vision to be like the next, Fat Beats or the next Tower Records or Warehouse Records, whatever, that was my vision of being something like that. But, vinyl died in 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.O.A.D took over. Vinyl sales died until just recently where, vinyl sales are coming back again. But yeah, man, it was tough. It was tough closing down those stores. It was tough firing everybody. It was tough paying back those loans. Entrepreneurship is no joke.
Yeah.
If you lose.
But it's like the lessons you learn from it are so invaluable, right? Like when
very invaluable, man.
It's
so
like,
I mean, I like to tell people I got a master's degree in business because I didn't just go to school for it. I lived it, man.
Yeah.
And then in the store, I was the accountant, I was the marketer, I was HR, I was I was running all the different departments, and then I still had to keep all my employees, my crew motivated.
Yeah.
And then pushing sales, coming up with creative programs to sell things, whatever. We have an in-store, like we treated it like a meet and greet, man, like a record meet and greet. So whatever, Gangstar comes to my store, which they did, we would interview them, and then we would have them sign autograph and meet and greet with a lot of the people that were there.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Something like D Styles, my Beat Junkie crew, like he had his Phantasmagoria records that he came out with. So we made limited edition T-shirts that we were selling with the purchase of his album. And then so you buy that, and then you get a free T-shirt at his in-store exclusively at Stax. And so that drove people in the doors, man. Yeah. So, just little things, man, to drive people. But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun game to, like make people come to the store and then make people buy.
It's good. No, I definitely see, like, I see that hustle and that marketing and promotional aspect even now when you're promoting your parties and even with the streams that you're doing. So like it's one of those things that you never, when you're kind of in the middle of it and you got to make the business successful and like you've got that the pressure's on, and you got to really step it up. You never really lose that. You can switch it on in any kind of hustle and any kind of platform or field that you do. But I definitely see that. And, looking at your resume from beginning to now, it's really, to me, it's inspiring. And you're still going and you're still grinding and you're still, you're still excelling to me and progressing, and I love it. And, I
appreciate it, man. But yeah, I mean, I look at our pioneers that are still even going, that were way before any of us, man, like your Jazzy Jeffs, or even Scratch, or any of these guys that are like still in their age, they're still killing it.
Yep.
I'm like, that's inspiration for me, because if they're doing it, then we could do it. You know what I mean? And that goes for any DJ. Like, doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter whatever, but you learn certain skills, and those skills will still carry you through all the way through. So yeah, I mean, you'll have your DJ skills, but then you got to learn some business aspects, which you guys do as the R.O.A.D podcast. And you guys got to market your podcast. You got to get it out there on the platforms. You guys got to have the discipline to record these shows, chop up these shows, put them on all the platforms, promote it, get people to listen to it, get your sales, your sponsors, all that stuff, man. It's a grind, man.
I'm exhausted just listening to you list all that shit already. Like,
I'm like, fuck.
I'm like, when he says it like that, gee, why are we doing this shit?
Yeah, why the fuck are we wasting our time?
Hey, man, because it's a labor of love, man. You guys love what you do. You guys put together a dope show, man. I've been a fan of your podcast and listened to a lot of them, and
thank you,
man. It's dope.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah. I think it's funny what you said about Scratch is like Scratch just recently DJ'd the D'Angelo verses, right?
Yeah.
And then like on Twitter and in the comments, it's like no one knew who he was. So it's
that's crazy, right? I've noticed that also.
It's like he was. It's like
who is this DJ?
yeah,
he's
so good. He's amazing, and I'm like, yo, like this. Can you imagine devoting 40 plus years in your career and still like and being reintroduced, almost like a D Nice, and it's really amazing to me, and it's kind of like. I don't know. It inspires people to keep going because you just never know when you'll just keep like breaking through and expanding your audience, and you know what I mean, expanding your outreach.
Yeah.
You know what's dope though with like talking on that point that you just made right there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone like Scratch is brand new to a whole new audience, right? They don't know EPMD. They don't know his history of Scratch. TV or any of that.
Battles.
His battles, none.
DMC
they don't know any of
battles,
that, man. All they know is his first exposure is he was with D'Angelo. And that's dope. That's dope. But that goes for any of us, man. Like, we land a certain club in Vegas or whatever. And next thing you know, you're exposed to a whole new audience that never knew about you. But because you're in that hot club, bam, they know you. Or like someone that makes it on the radio, or someone even like on Twitch, man. I've discovered so many damn DJs on Twitch that I've never heard of in my life, but it's because we're new to Twitch, we're on this different platform, and you discover people, man. So, and then, yeah, man, you got a young audience always coming up. You got people turning 18 every day. And so like these people are new to the game, new to music, new to DJing, new to anything, man. So they're going to discover you guys. So it's a cycle, man, but it's a fun cycle.
Yeah,
it's dope. And yeah, you expand your audience that way, man. Just staying consistent and staying on the grind.
So when do you think we're gonna see the next Snapback live in like in person at an actual venue?
That's a good question, man. Because here in Cali, we're not opened up yet.
Yeah,
I know over there in Vegas, you guys are a third open, maybe.
I think we're gonna go to 50% capacity in like March 15th.
Commonwealth is open. They are doing some snapback parties over there, but it's not. There's no dancing, so I mean, it's not that vibe. It's not that vibe until you get people dancing and partying, and right now everyone's sitting at a table, and you're sitting around eating or drinking. That's not a club. That's not a party, man.
Yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe the end of the year, maybe by fall 2021. Maybe.
Hopefully. I don't see it until next year, honestly.
We'll check you on the Twitch TV, right? Is it Twitch TV / Snapback Live, right?
Yeah. Twitch.tv / Snapback Live, or my page /DJ Ice.
Ice. Ice, thank you so much for coming through, man. We wanted you on the podcast for a long time. And I'm really glad you got to break down kind of the LA scene in the 90s, moving into the 2000s, man. It's like
I'm glad I can help fill in those holes, man. Because I did remember hearing you guys talk about the raves and all of that. I'm like, man, the raves is not it. That's not where it started, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ice. Finally.
Oh man,
I didn't understand it. I'm like, there's these great hip hop open format DJs, and they're saying that their beginning start was raves, and I'm just like, you're telling me there weren't hip hop parties in LA, like in clubs and stuff? It was just weird to me.
I think because you guys interviewed a lot more younger guys first. You didn't get at guys my age or older that actually lived those years, man. So, I mean, one of the guys, you guys got to get like some of these K-Day mix masters like Tony G, Julio G, like those guys will really break down that whole history and stuff too, man. But yeah, like you guys need help on booking any of the older cats too, man. I can help you guys there.
I think that'll be dope.
Yeah, that'll be great. For real. I think I want to get Mr. Chalk on too.
Yeah, Mr. Chalk would be dope.
I just saw him on Twitch, and he's scam artist and stuff like that. But he sounded great on Twitch, and I'm like, man, I got to get this motherfucker on because it's been too long. Thanks
again for having me, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ice. Peace.
Peace out.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.